Hello everyone, welcome to a new chess video. Today, I'm bringing you one of those videos you like so much, for various reasons. First of all, because we're playing with the black pieces. You asked me for so many traps and so many openings with the black pieces. Well, here's one for you. Plus, I love it because this opening, or rather this defense, can be used against any development by the white pieces. Therefore, you won't have to wait for them to play exactly this, but you can always use it, both against e4 and against d4. And I'm going to quickly explain why. First, let's start by seeing what happens if they play e4. Well, we're going to play d6. This is the first move. Don't worry, it seems like a very soft, very quiet move, but it hides too many traps that we're going to see in this video. And if you remember more or less the traps and the ideas, you'll be able to execute them in your games with impressive results. Why is this move so good? Well, first of all, because now since you leave the center free, they're going to occupy it with d4. And if they play d4 first, when you play d6, they'll also play e4. Therefore, we're going to reach the same position. All right, let's get to the point. Now we want to play e5 directly. It seems like a bit of a strange move. Why? Because your opponent can exchange pawns and then exchange queens, and we'd be left without castling. See? If they take here, we have to take, and now they take our queen, and we're left without castling. The thing is, that's exactly what we want, for them to take here. But we're not going to recapture. Instead, we're going to play a kind of gambit and play knight c6. All right, here we've already set the first little trap. They took your pawn because they had to capture it. And second, now we're giving it away. What will happen here with the black pieces? Well, now they'll have to take here. Why? Because if not, we're going to recapture this pawn and we'll be much better off. Therefore, the best solution here for the white pieces is to capture this pawn. And now they're left with an extra pawn. Well, perfect. Right here is what we wanted. We'll recapture with the bishop. And now, well, let's continue with the game, right? For example, knight f3 from the white pieces. And we now, contrary to what the white pieces think, want to castle long, okay? Remember this. I always tell you, remember the ideas, not the exact moves. The first ones you do have to memorize, but from then on, remember the ideas. This defense is going to serve you very well, I'm telling you the truth. We're going to castle on the queen side, therefore we're going to develop our bishop. In this case, we take advantage and pin this knight here. Most opponents are afraid of this pin, so they usually play bishop e2. It's a fairly logical move. And now, once we've reached this position, how should we continue? Well, here I've checked the position in the database for a moment, and they tell us that the black pieces are equal with the white pieces. Does that mean we're even? No, it means we're actually better off. Because remember, we're down a pawn, so the engine should be giving white the advantage. And if it shows equality, it means we're doing better. All right, we keep pressing with queen to e7, a multi-purpose move that's always good in this opening. For two reasons. First, because it keeps an eye on the e4 square, which is always relevant. And second, because it lets us castle on the very next move. So remember, queen to e7 is a great move that will make everything work perfectly. As you can see, we have a very interesting position here. Now we're about to castle on the next move. But white is too. First, knight to c3 to defend the square, right? Queen to e7 doesn't just prepare castling, it attacks this square, so they have to defend it. And now, we're gonna castle queenside, setting up a little trap. Notice that this opening, or rather this defense, is full of traps. What's the trap? Here, if white castles, which looks like a normal move, they've lost the queen, because we have this discovered check with the bishop, and next we take the queen with the rook. So here comes the first little trap. Notice how this opening is just full of traps. So right here, they can't castle. If they castle, you know what to do. Hit them with bishop takes pawn. Now, if they prevent it, which was the best move here, bishop to d2, because they have to block this diagonal, it doesn't worry us at all. We're going to stick with our plan. And what's our plan here? To attack. You know, a gambit is meant for attacking. And first, what we're going to do is eliminate this knight that's bothering us a bit. And when they recapture, we'll bring the bishop to f5. I mean, 4, sorry. Why? because look at the intense pressure we're putting now on that pinned bishop on d2. Now, white is going to lose this bishop if they don't find a way out, since it can't move due to the rook pin, and we're adding massive pressure with this bishop. Notice now that after the exchanges, we'd win the queen. Now, many of you are probably thinking quickly, especially in blitz games, this is the most common move. They put the knight here, and it seems like nothing's happening because they block the file for the rook, plus they attack the queen and bishop. Well, that would work, except we can capture with the rook, and this pawn can't recapture because it's pinned by the queen. So they'd basically be giving us the knight for free. It looks like they save everything, but they save nothing. And besides, they haven't just lost the knight, now they can't defend this square either. So no matter what they do, we're taking this bishop too. And being 2 pieces up is more than enough to win the game very comfortably. I'm sure you're absolutely loving this trap, but alright, let's move on, because white has many ways to play, and I'm going to show you how to handle all of them. And you'll see that the idea is fundamental. No matter what white plays, we're going to follow a similar idea. Here, when they play d4, once they get the central structure, we break with e5. Now, we've seen what happened if they captured directly, but they might do something else entirely. All right, right? If they capture here, we don't recapture. Instead, we play knight here, right? AF knight c6. Now, what if they play, for example, knight f3, defending and attacking? Are we going to take? No, we have several ideas. But anyway, I recommend that you first pin this knight directly. Since we're going to do it anyway, when they play knight f3, we pin it and save ourselves some trouble. Now they have to capture before things get complicated for them, and we're going to recapture? No, knight c6. Why? Because what we want is for them to capture us, and that way we gain this tempo. And above all, we also open this file to carry out the queen attacks. Therefore, when they take, we capture with the bishop. Alright, we've given up a pawn, but we have both bishops very active. On the next move, you already know what we'll do, and if not, you'll see it next, because it's always the same. And we're already pressing with this bishop for a possible discovered attack here when we castle long. What can the white pieces play here? Earlier, we saw that bishop e2 was a pretty bad move, which seems to reinforce this pin very well, but what happens? It leaves this file open for the queen. Therefore, many white players might also play bishop e, bishop d3, a slightly more solid move. It seems they don't mind having this knight pinned for now and prefer to block the file. What are we going to play? Well, the same thing, queen e7. As you can see, the most important thing is the ideas, not learning the moves by heart. We want to place the queen on e7 to castle. This is an idea. Well then, you'll have to do it in your games. Once we play queen e7, they can play 1,000 things. For example, castling. Whoops, the rook is going crazy, right guys? The rook is going crazy, you know it. We castle too, that's our plan, you already know. And here white, well, they can play 1,000 things. We're here pressing very hard, as you can see, with the bishop. We're also already making threats with the rook. Therefore, they have to try to do something here. A developing move, knight c3. Plain and simple for white. And now we're going to drop the first bombshell, knight e5, and we're collapsing white's position. Look at that, huh? We're right in the opening, but we're already breaking through everywhere. Here we come with the bishop and the knight. We're threatening to open up the king. We're also threatening this bishop right here. Therefore, the most logical move for white is to play bishop e2 to get out of the pin, and also to defend this knight here and not have to double pawns just yet. The thing is, we can take advantage, as always, of the tactics. Surely many of you have already seen the tactic that's right here. If not, come on, I invite you to pause the video, all those who haven't found it, how we can win the queen here. Pause the video and I'm going to say the solution. There is. The solution is, of course, obviously, knight takes f3, check. Therefore, they have to recapture. Knight takes f3 was to open up this line for the bishop. And now, same as before, we take here with check, and when the king captures, we could take directly, but it's more precise to first give the check, to also defend this bishop. Check here. And now, we take the queen, And look at the advantage we have. We could continue, for example, with bishop takes bishop, and once this is open, look, we have a queen advantage and the position is totally won. Let's see now a very peculiar way that you can implement in your games as well to play. Look, d4, we can directly play e5, giving away this pawn. Have you gone crazy, chess teacher? Yeah, I've gone crazy. You already know. Teacher, I've gone crazy. You already know, yes. But this works, you already know, because you've seen me play this 1,000 times and winning games like this so many games. First, what? We give away this pawn, and now, well, we simply play d6. Why? Because when they capture us, we are in a position similar to the one before. We've sacrificed a pawn, but we have the open file. One, which is what we wanted, and two, the bishop placed on d6, which we also wanted. Now the white pieces have an advantage. For example, knight f3, right? Development moves, knight c6. What happens? That white doesn't have this pawn here, therefore they've gained a tempo. And many of you will tell me, chess teacher, things have gotten complicated here because I no longer have the pawn here. What if they play e3? Relax. I always tell you the same thing. The important thing is to learn the plan. That is, you don't have to learn the moves, I always tell you. Simply remember the plan well. What is our plan here? Place the bishop on d6, giving away the pawn, then attack with the bishop through here, place the queen on e7, right? To open the file, castle long, to place the rook, attacking the queen. These are our plans. If you remember the plan, I assure you that you're gonna win many games. You're gonna lose very few games. Obviously, if your opponent is much better and crushes you, well, they've crushed you. But well, this opening will go very, very well for you. So let's go. They play e3. What move do you think would be the good one here? The good thing is that you think about it at the same time as me. That way, you're going to learn much more. If they play e3, the good move here would be to directly pin this knight. As you can see, the same thing we're doing in the other openings, right? In the other moves from the opponent. We always have the same plan, that's the good thing. Well, we pin right here. Now the white pieces can continue with bishop e2, for example, calmly. And us, what are we gonna do? Well, obviously, queen e7. This is our plan. The white pieces can castle in us. What are we gonna do? Well, also castle. Notice that we're gonna play something similar in all games, if not the same. We're gonna adapt in the move order, simply. Here, oops, sorry. Now, you already know what we have to do here if white gets careless, right? Bishop takes, check, and we capture the queen. So watch out they don't slip up with a move like knight to c3, because then we hit him with the interesting one, right? We hit him with the interesting one, as I like to call it, bishop to d2, and they stop everything. So what do we do then? Well, we stick to our plan, right? We're not worried at all. We keep going with our little knight. Now, imagine, we're gonna propose an attacking move that we haven't seen until now. What happens if they attack us with this pawn? This is very interesting. We can play the brutal move, h5. Why? You'll say, chess teacher, have you gone crazy again? You losing your mind? And what's going on? You already know that lately I've been going a bit crazy. It's fine though, because it works. Why can't we just give away this bishop? Normally, when we give away this bishop, it's because the queen can join the attack, but here she can't. So they can just take it. Chess teacher, no. Because here we attack a knight that now has to move. It doesn't matter where. You choose. Let's suppose, for example, I don't know, that it goes to this square right here. Well, what are we going to do? We move in with the queen. Look at what an interesting move this is, huh? We move in with the queen, they can kick her out, but look at this now. Come on, I want you all to tell me in the comments how we can win with just one move. We have a winning move here that leads to checkmate on the very next turn. How many of you are going to be able to get it right in the comments? You know I read absolutely every single one of you, right? I want you to leave it in the comments. I read all of you. Come on, let's go. This'll be the little exercise. How do we win here? I'm sure many of you have found the winning move, and you'll see how this move here is a total loser and you win the game. So what lesson do we learn here? That they can't capture this bishop. If they do capture it, even better. And I'm telling you, most people are going to capture it, but what if they just keep playing normally and don't fall for this little trap? You see, we've been setting little traps for our opponent throughout the whole game. And if they don't fall for it, no big deal, because this opening is great, and if they don't fall for the trap, we're in a prime position. That's the beauty of this opening, so you can start playing it. Now what? They played here, they didn't take us. No problem. We have to try to follow our own advice and see for ourselves how we can attack here. Well, I want you all to think of ways to attack now. You can pause the video if you want, try to think of some ways, and I'll show you the one I think is most effective. Check this out. Sometimes when I have an attack planned, I like to eliminate this knight here because it's defending the weakest square of the White King's castle right now. You already know that the knight on f3 and the knight on c6 are the smartest and most protective knights for the castle. So sometimes when we take them out, there are some really strong attack plans. So there are several moves here, like knight to e5, which is very strong. But there's an even better one, queen to e5, directly threatening checkmate. Notice that there's only one move here to save the castled position. Therefore, we had to calculate this line because it's forced. They can simply stop it with this move. And now, how do we continue? h5, a brutal move. Now they can't capture because mate would follow, and they can't advance because mate would follow. And on the next turn, we're going to move in, check, with the queen winning a pawn and delivering checkmate on the following move. How would this look? Well, for example, they can't take because it's mate, they can't advance because it's mate, they have to do something else. For instance, what could they do? Move the queen. Then we capture, we're also coming in through here, they capture, we capture, check, and when the king moves, checkmate. So take a look, okay? A super interesting opening, or rather a defense, no matter what our opponent does. We have a clear attack plan full of traps that will win you so many games in Blitz with all the traps I've shown you. Therefore, it's a very good video to analyze. I want everyone to leave a like down below. It's totally free, and it's a way to thank me for everything I'm sharing for free, so I really appreciate it. If you leave a comment about an exercise or just to say thanks for the video, anything, even constructive criticism, I read them all, as you know. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the daily video. You already know that on this channel you get a daily chess video. So, I hope you loved this video, and I'll see you in the next one, friends. Goodbye.